morning to you, Jim. Good Monday morning, everybody out there. Thank you for joining us. Today, we're going to continue the conversation regarding the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Joining us will be Jim Pfaff. You know him. He's been on the show before. Good friend to us and good friend of the show. He is the president of the Conservative Caucus. We'll get his feelings on this. The left's rhetoric since then. The stuff I have just seen from the left. And I don't even know if I'm going to call them the left anymore. I think the terrorists is what they are. I think they're just domestic terrorists at this point.
Well, funny thing is, I asked for videos or any evidence for anybody to send me where Charlie Kirk said the things that they say he said.
Not a one.
I heard it on CNN.
That's
Send
right.
it to me. It's really easy to go get it.
Yep. Should be easy, right? Everything's on the internet.
Yep.
Yeah. So the stuff we've seen has just been absolutely sickening. And it's to me, it's not even a political right-left issue anymore. It's just a good-evil issue. Good, spiritual good-evil issue to me. So I think everybody knows our feelings from last week that I am just absolutely done trying to persuade these brain-dead idiots anymore. We'll see if Jim...
What's happening now, Dale, is no hope.
I know. Well, we'll see if Jim can talk me off the ledge. I hope so. But anyways, stay tuned for that. He will be joining us. It's going to be an amazing show. It always is when he's on. So what is that show, Jimmy?
Live. FuryCast Network Studios. Two guys. One coup.
See you in a minute. Can't get enough of Stoner Jim at the end of that song.
I kind of look at that every time and I'm thinking, come on.
It cheers me up every time I see it, which I completely need cheered up. I've been in such the mood, as I think we all have been here. What does it say? Do you have
Nick Freitas making the argument podcast from last week is a must watch. Sharing the links and comments. Okay.
Thank you.
Aiken.
Yeah, thank you for that. Appreciate it. I haven't, and I will go look at that for sure. Let's waste no time. Let's bring up Jim if he is ready. Let's see.
You ready? Okay.
If he's not ready,
no, he did. He went like this.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing well. How are y'all?
I'm doing good. Thank you again for coming back on.
Speaking, of course.
Exactly. Let me ask you a question real quick right off the bat then on that, because we welcome back, by the way.
Thanks.
I mean, just trying to
always glad to be with you guys.
Thank you.
Well,
we love having you, honestly. Obviously.
Yeah.
It's going to be three guys, one coup here pretty soon.
That's fine. Yeah, who knows? We'll just have guys. And
everybody's going to get confused with two Jims from Indiana. It's crazy.
Right. No, they won't confuse you two. Trust me. I know which one's the smart.
You're a lot smarter than I am.
No confusion
I'll
there.
accept that. Go ahead.
Yeah. Keep going.
It's not saying a lot, Jim. So.
Yeah. I gotta be, I mean, perfectly clear about this. I feel this loss unlike any loss of anybody outside of my family that I've ever felt in my life. I don't know why that is exactly. Maybe it's the brutal nature of it. Maybe it was my tipping point on how I feel about anybody who I would consider now to be on the evil side of things in this world. So maybe it's that, but it has just been a depressing minute after minute, hour after hour, and anger for me since last Wednesday afternoon. I feel that the nation and those who obviously are on the right side of this feel that same way. It's just been a different feeling for me. And I don't know. I can't point my finger to it. Maybe it's because of who he was and just as a human being in general, nothing to do with speaking, but just his spiritualness, his family values, his love for America. Maybe it was just that. Maybe it's how people felt. And again, I don't like making comparisons, but maybe like when Martin Luther King was shot, or that kind of just, or those who supported JFK, or that kind of level of just loss. I feel is that normal? I mean, you're not a psychologist. I'm not asking for that, but do you feel that way? Is that just a kind of a normal feeling at this point?
Oh, I mean, it stirs up a lot of different thoughts and feelings.
Mm-hmm.
This really is MLK level. I heard people, there are a lot of people still on the left who are just going nutsoid over Glenn Beck saying that Charlie Kirk was a civil rights leader. And I find that interesting. In a sense, I get why they initially react negatively to that statement, because it's like, well, no, what are you talking about? I mean, we had the Jim Crow laws and MLK fought against it. They were major civil rights atrocities that were taking place in this country, without a doubt. And Martin Luther King led that. It's one of the greatest civil rights problems we've ever had in this country, prior to the Biden administration, where we had civil rights atrocities like crazy. And that's why any one of us who are pushing back against the censorship industrial complex, the COVID shutdowns, the forced COVID vaccine, et cetera, that's why every one of us are civil rights leaders in that sense. So I think that's an accurate statement. Secondly, though, it really has had nearly that big an impact on the news media. Even the leftist news outlets have not stopped talking about it since it happened.
Correct.
So that would put it on par with a Martin Luther King level assassination. I do think it's of a very similar nature. And, people can quibble about, well, no, the Martin Luther King thing was bigger than the Charlie Kirk thing. I mean, I don't even know how to, put the data together to make that claim one way or the other. It's been huge. So that's part of it. That's one thing aspect. But in terms of the dour feeling that is happening, frankly, for all of us in this, consider first, here is a very a non-college graduate who I think was incredibly articulate and knowledgeable of all things America, of all things politics, and of all things American documents, our Constitution and various things like that, and of Christian theology, even though so he was recently on, and the guy put it up on his podcast, Alan Jackson, who has a church down in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, a very large following amongst Christians. And Alan's brother, by the way, is a fellow graduate of mine from the Webb School in Bell Buckle, Tennessee, Doyle. He's a pastor in the Columbus, Ohio area. But Alan was over in Phoenix not long ago talking about his new book about angels and demons and that sort of thing. It's a very interesting book everyone should get. But you see, Charlie said in that interview, I'm no theologian, but when I don't consider myself a theologian either, but I study theology quite deeply, and I have deep theological conversations. And on that basis, I'm impressed with all the clips I see of Charlie's knowledge of theology, even. So he was very well studied. He had learned a lot. He was 18 years old when he started this thing.
I know.
He was 31 when he died.
Yep.
In fact, he was going to be 32 here, I think, next month.
Yep.
If I'm not
next
mistaken.
month, October.
So here's an incredibly capable person who put together a very large organization that would make many of us who have organizations in the conservative movement blush.
Yeah.
So there's that basis of it. Then there's Erica's speech.
Yes.
And Meyer and I watched that together, and Meyer's just in tears. I mean, you feel for a mom with two kids who had a husband who truly loved her. And I've been talking about for a long time, even in my political stuff, the need for two-parent families. I've talked for years about the fact I think young people should get married young. They should be having children early. They should be trying to work through all the challenges and difficulties that marriage presents, and building strong families. That is the most wonderful thing that can be done. This guy who's heading up, and he's received a lot of criticism for praising the death of Charlie Kirk, but this guy who's recently headed up the Oxford Union, which is the great debate society over in Oxford, England, connected to the university, somewhat connected. Anyway, he was just praising Charlie Kirk's death. He had debated Charlie Kirk at the Oxford Union. By the way, consider this: a high school graduate effectively debated at the Oxford Union. And I don't know how many people are familiar with the Oxford Union, but the best intellectuals in the world are debating there, talking about issues. It's been really one of the great debate societies in human history. Long-standing and so forth. So Charlie was effectively there, yet this idiot was praising his death. I mean, that's another aspect of this. The leftists have been cheering, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, but I'm all for what people on the left are now calling cancel culture. I guess it takes one to know one, because they're the experts at cancel culture.
Yeah, they made the rules.
The fact that people in educational institutions, both primary and secondary, meaning for those in Rio Linda, the K through 12 and university, they're getting let go. They're getting suspended. Frankly, not enough, in my opinion. And also in government. I think every government institution that has anyone that is out on social media praising the death of Charlie Kirk, every one of those people should be fired for cause. What do I mean by for cause? Meaning they did something wrong in their job. I think you are doing something wrong in your job when you're calling out praise for the murder of any individual. You should immediately be fired for cause. I frankly, I'm hopeful that the Trump administration will, as Pete Hegseth is doing in the military, but I hope the Trump administration fires every federal government employee for cause that was out publicly praising the death of Charlie Kirk. And this is not cancel culture, by the way. This is basic employment law. So, and I can't make. I don't think we should make private industries do it, but every private company that has employees that have done this should do the very same thing.
Agreed.
You should not have people like this in any area of responsibility.
Agreed.
And the only way for them to get properly rebuked for that sin, by the way, is to have the shame of losing their job.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that because I want to go after everybody. And I do think you want to look at the content of what was said publicly. It may be merely political in nature, not directly I mean, I wouldn't say someone that just said something like, whatever. He the politics is really bad out there, and look what happened because the politics is bad. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, something like that is not necessarily fireable. But if you're saying, he got exactly what he deserved, you ought to be fired immediately. That's not cancel culture.
No,
that is appropriate action. Correct. For any employer. You cannot have people in your organization and think that way.
Right. And keep in mind the First Amendment. You have a right to say what you want, but then there's consequences after you say it.
Well, let me put it more succinctly in this, because this is the way I put it.
Yep.
You cannot be put down for having freedom of speech, but you should never be able. The freedom of speech does not give you the right to be insulated from the consequences of your speech.
Yeah.
And now someone's going to say, after I say that, that's right. Well, that's Charlie Kirk got shot, and that's the consequences of his speech. That is not the consequences of his speech. That's a criminal activity.
Correct.
He suffered every consequence of his speech because he received a lot of ridicule publicly, out of media, out of social media, many places. I mean, but that's what we all do when we're expressing our speech.
He was the champion of free speech, and they killed him for it.
And
that's I don't want to hear about that.
We go into how the reaction is, right? We want to talk about the reaction. And the thing that bothers me more than anything is everybody still to this day, most on the left, and you watch CNN, MSNBC, and all that stuff, they blame Trump and his rhetoric for it, right? It's all Trump's fault. It's all Trump's fault. But nobody can show me any video where Charlie Kirk, President Trump, or us have gone out and said, we think trans people should be locked up. We think that trans people should be put in gulags or whatever they're saying, because we're fascists, right? And then, of course, we are trying to go in and help the Black communities of this country because their leaders won't, but we're trying to go in and help them, but we're fascists, trying to help them make their lives better. So, Jim, my question to you is this. I don't see, because of what I'm seeing, I don't see any hope here. Because they are not accepting any response other than Fetterman. Okay. They're not accepting any responsibility in this whatsoever.
I want to put this up real quick before I answer. The left believes in cancel culture. We believe in accountability culture. Big difference. That's right, Aiken. That was well said. And true. There's an accountability for your actions like that.
Well, let me answer Jim's question, and then let me talk about the accountability thing. First of all, repeat your question, though, Jim.
Is there any hope here?
So anyway, all you got to do is, I do have hope. All you have to do is go to Charlie Kirk's speeches to find this expression of hope. I mean, he regularly was rightly saying that all we have to do is engage. This is the greatest country the world has ever known, not because we're always so perfectly great. There is no country in human history that matches the liberty, the freedom, the economic benefit, and every other indicator of what America stands for. And when she's been good, she's been very good. And when she's been bad, she hasn't been nearly as bad as other countries.
Correct.
No, there's a lot of hope. Frankly, another reason to hope, just on the data, is that a lot of Democrats voted for Donald Trump in 2024. A lot. So when I'm out saying very clearly, the Democrat Party is not an American party. It's a leftist, radicalist party. I seek no unity with the Democrat Party. But when I say that, I'm not talking about Democrat voters. By the way, there are some, and we're seeing them saying expressions of praise for Charlie Kirk. Dying. Those, forget you people. I mean, you need to repent and change your attitude. But most Democrat voters aren't that way. Our problem is Democrat politicians and the Democrat aligned media and statist.
That's my point. That's what
I seek no unity with these people. I will not speak well of them. They are messing this up badly. They are continuing to institutionalize the scripture, so-called, of the leftist dogma, which helps lead to this raid. I'm not saying that all those people are at fault directly for Charlie Kirk's murder, but they have tangential culpability. They're on the edge of it. It's their rhetoric that has done this. Someone's going to come back and hear this and say, yeah, well, I can find pieces of rhetoric from someone on the right. Yeah, you probably can. Mm-hmm. You do not find the right in this country a movement to do this. Mm-hmm. And in fact, what we are living through is the left that has been so radically absurd in their anti-American bias, their anti-constitutional bias, mm-hmm. their desire to literally destroy the foundations of this country, that what they do is act in these inappropriate manners. And then if we respond, well, it's just as bad as everyone else. By the way, we're already starting to see Republicans do this. James Langford was just pitiful all weekend long. And I know James, and I was around him when I worked on Capitol Hill. He's a nice guy and everything. Yeah. But no, this isn't, well, I have Democrat friends and we just try to, every Democrat in Congress, everyone. Maybe I'll give Ro Khanna a little bit of a pass, but every one of these Democrats and Fetterman, every one of these Democrats in Congress are part of this problem.
Yes.
They contribute to this problem.
Correct.
Every one of them pushed for the impeachment of a president who had not done wrong. And we know now more than ever he didn't do wrong. In fact, I'm actually personally amazed by how clean a person Donald Trump is.
Agreed.
Through his businesses and through his government actions. So there's that. Now, in terms of what the person who made the comment said, there needs to be shame in society. Mm-hmm. Shame is a protection of society. What you need, though, is appropriate shame. Mm-hmm. And I was just reading, was it Psalm 68 or 63 this morning? And 63. No, 62, actually. And he says, they have counseled only to thrust him, the king, down from his high position. They delight in falsehood. They bless with their mouth, but inwardly curse. I could go on. There are a few other ones. That's verse 4 of 62. Listen, there is an absolute push of falsehood in the Democrat Party. It's actually is a bit, well, it's actually evil, because the evil person wants to supplant people to gain power. The person who gains any power through submission to God and seeking truth as opposed to seeking personal wealth and power, that person doesn't seek to supplant anyone. Look at the life of David, who, by the way, committed a lot of sins. He never tried to supplant Saul. Saul was after him, trying to kill him either, and he wasn't trying to supplant him. But he was anointed as king at a young age. I mean, he was the anointed king that whole time. But he also knew that Saul had been anointed king. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make is Democrats have been trying to supplant the American ideal for decades now, and with urgency beginning in the Obama administration. And we're not talking about Barack Obama enough here. Joe Biden had enough. Obama started a lot of these acute problems. These people have been trying to supplant America all this time. They need to be pushed back on. Their power base needs to be destroyed. But we need to do that by offering the alternative. And Charlie Kirk did that very well. So to finally answer Jim's question, I have a lot of hope because I think we can do that.
Who takes the reins at this point to reach the youth as Charlie did? I think he created a million other Charlies, the assassin. That's exactly what I think happened. But who has that in him to reach? Because when you look, he was so influential that, I mean, what did Donald Trump take? 43% of the young men vote?
No, of the 18 to 24 total. Male,
18
female,
to 24
everything.
total.
He took 53% of young males, 18 to 24.
Which is unheard of, unprecedented, for a Republican candidate. Who takes the reins now for them? Who? And I don't say somebody jump in and they're going to be Charlie. Nobody's going to be Charlie. That's not the point. But is there somebody out there that you think can spread that message just as well? If not, just keep it going. Besides Erica, who I think that's not her thing. I get that. but who's going to keep it going for Turning Point?
Well, hopefully she's able to keep the organization going, and she's pledged to do so.
I think that she can
but
do.
And nobody's going to replace Charlie Kirk. That's a unique thing. But if these million kids that have now been seemingly totally on board with taking his legacy forward, that's how you replace a Charlie Kirk. But that's what he was trying to do anyway. Yes. Like TPUSA wasn't about, let's just highlight Charlie Kirk. And there might have been some of that in his mind or whatever. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't on the inside there to make a good judgment on that. But I can tell you that what he talked about with young people all the time was for them to be the replacement for him, to be the people doing what he did. And there are going to be a lot of competent, skilled, capable young people of his age group and younger who, if they will take on that challenge that he gave them, can totally replace him. But that's how you fix a culture anyway. That's how you fix politics. Is you bring people on board who are capable of promoting the American ideal because they understand what the American ideal is, and then take the risks and the hits and put in the effort to assert those ideals. The only way a nation can survive, and the only way our nation will survive as founded, and hopefully get back to it, is if you have a mass of people sadly having to be inspired by something like this, but go ahead and take the inspiration of it now that it's happened and implement that. That's how you save a society. If Charlie Kirk's death doesn't inspire a lot of young people to say, listen, I'm going to take his advice, and that's how I'm going to seek to live my life. I'm going to follow the Lord Jesus Christ. I'm going to understand the American hope and ideal and understand how that connects to scriptural principles that are timeless, that are immutable, that work every time. And I'm going to put into action in political efforts and social efforts of every sort. I mean, get involved in cultural things and reassert these ideals. I mean, that's how you save a society. If we don't do that, and if young people in particular, don't take inspiration from his death and do that, then we are going to lose this culture. That's where the hopelessness only exists where there is no effort to undertake things. In fact, biblically, the idea of hope is not, well, I hope I get a good outcome on this. That's not hope. Hope, and anyone that reads Hebrews closely and studies it theologically understands that the famous faith chapter and chapter 11 and chapter 10 leading into it asserts the fact that hope is based upon real things, real outcomes. Like I put my hope in Jesus Christ and I will walk with him. The reason I do that is not because, well, I hope I get saved. I hope I can go to heaven. No. Jesus asserted that if you follow him, that will happen. If you trust in him in faith, that will happen. So when you trust in him in faith, then you suddenly are urged and called upon by him to see the kingdom of God come on earth, which is a set of principles and rules and ethics and morals that we follow. That is that's salt and light to the earth. Jesus' very first preaching was repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. That when he came out of the wilderness after his 40 days of temptation, in two of the gospels it says, and from that time he began to preach, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. And that's what we need to do. All of Western culture is the summation of Christians, both in wrong ways, but mostly in very good ways, bringing the kingdom of heaven to earth in a set of principles and rules and guidelines that can direct a culture into something good. And that's the effort that we need to be undertaking. And that's what we should be inspired by, because Charlie was really attempting to do that very thing.
We, the thing was that I like to point out, and then I want to bring up one quick thing in your comment about it, because it kind of goes in with what we're talking about. The first thing is, you notice that once Charlie Kirk was murdered, assassinated, we didn't take to the streets. We didn't burn anything down. We didn't spit in cops' faces. We did not do anything like that. We went and prayed. We went and prayed, created all this stuff. We moment of silence. And to give you a point on what I was kind of leading in before with my previous question about the mainstream media, is you look at CNN for this Ariana, the white woman who was killed on the rail in Charlotte, and they made it about race. We didn't. What we made it about was this person was convicted 11 times of crimes, and he was out on the street. That's what we pointed out. He just so happened to be black. Okay. Yeah. And so but we also know what would have happened if roles were reversed.
Yeah.
Right. If it was a white man that did that to a black woman, we would be having riots in the streets. We would be having stuff like that. So again, the media is that they have to take ownership in this. They have to, because they're feeding this. They're putting words in our mouth. When I say, and when we say, Dale, on this show, that we don't agree with the trans life, just leave the kids alone. And we think there's a mental problem with you, but if you're an adult and you want to do it, I can't stop you. They seem to take that as we hate them, we want them to die, and that's how the left is repeating it. So their followers have no common sense. They can't think for themselves. They have to be told what to think.
Yeah. Well, every one of us needs to be told something so that we can learn to think in a certain way.
Agreed.
But the difference between the left and the right goes right back to this principle I talked about of supplanting. See, the reason that Democrat efforts always lead to violence, and they do, this is another reason that these Democrat political leaders are tangentially responsible.
Correct.
Just look back to the most recent example, this whole No Kings thing. Democrats were utilizing violence to oppose Donald Trump.
Yes.
Now, the actual substantive difference between that and Charlie Kirk's assassination is different by degrees, but it's the same kind of effort. And when you look at what happened in the LA riots, those organizations were largely funded by government institutions.
Yes.
Even Biden's DHS gave the organization who coordinated all that stuff, violence in LA, gave them $500,000 over a 2-year period, but they were getting millions of dollars from state entities, both state government and local governments there. So that shame needs to be placed upon them. They are out to supplant the American ideal. They want to replace it with something else. In my estimation, Maoist communism. They do want a cultural revolution in this country, very similar to what Mao did. They aren't claiming they want to kill people, and I'm not even asserting that they are wanting to en masse kill people. But they do want to en masse put everybody that opposes them politically into a box. The way that Mao Zedong did that in communist China in the 50s and 60s was to do public shaming of people who opposed the communist system. They would put signs on their bodies. They would publicly display them, mostly the youth of China. They would scream at them and yell at them. These were called struggle sessions. Everyone needs to do a search on Maoist struggle sessions and find out exactly what has happened. Watch all the video, read all the documentation on it. Those are things that Democrats have been actually doing over the last 10 years and attempting to do for decades now. I mean, I was telling someone recently that there are a lot of people, when they think about the 1960s and the radicalism that was happening on college campuses then, proving, by the way, that this isn't a particularly new thing. It's just more institutional. But a lot of people thought that it was Russian communism that was inspiring the communist sentiment on college campuses in the 1960s. There was probably some of that. Most of it was Maoist communism. There are a lot of Maoist symbols that college students of the time were displaying, that far more than any Russian communist ones. And when you see the hammer and sickle stuff back then, it's actually often married with Maoist communist symbols at the same time. So Maoist communism is the example of where they're going. Now, granted, at present, it is a much less violent one than what ultimately happened, where Mao killed tens of millions of people. But
if left up to them, would that not be their goal
at the end of the day?
Yeah, would that not be their goal if they could get away with it? And who knows someday, with the propaganda machine that is the media, if they eventually can get away with it, don't you think they would? I put nothing past them.
Well,
I think they would kill tens of millions of Americans to get what they want.
Well,
I think 100% that.
I'm not going to ascribe that present motivation in the radical Democrat left, but it can devolve into that when their efforts are not successful. And again, this goes into this whole idea of supplanting. When you want to supplant an idea, then you of necessity need to, in some form or fashion, destroy its opponents.
Correct.
And if you can get by with mere shaming, I think a lot of people would just do that. When I look at I saved a bunch of them, dozens and dozens of X posts where people either were actually sharing their own video, but mostly people sharing other people's videos, with wicked laughs. And cheering of Charlie Kirk's death. I do know that there are people out there who would support it. I mean, these are the people doing it. This is why I think it's not cancel culture to fire him from government positions. It's actually necessary to fire them from government positions.
It's necessary. It should be required. Hey, we're going to get real quick a break here. Grit Gear, Lock and Load Coffee. We'll come back. I got a couple videos on one of them. There's a path to what happened here. And like we had talked about, the media is definitely to blame for a lot of this. And we'll get that and get Jim's reaction. If you can hang with us still, I think you're good, right?
Yep.
Okay. We'll be right back. Grit Gear, Lock and Load Coffee.
Grit is defined as firmness of character, unyielding courage in the face of hardship or danger. At Grit Gear Apparel, we honor all military, police, fire, public service, and patriotic Americans, both men and women regardless of color, creed, or religion. Our brand represents the love and freedom for our country, the heroism of all our men and women, and the principles of what this wonderful country was built on. Our goal is to regenerate the sense of patriotism and to spark the American pride within us, to stand together in the toughest times and become victorious, to preserve all our freedoms, to honor our flag, and to respect the men and women who have fought and died for us to have these freedoms. Wear our brand with pride, with a sense of patriotism, and as a statement for the love of our country. Whether you're military, public official, or civilian, our brand is for you. Together we stand as Americans.
Well, I like that saying, together we stand as Americans. Those who believe in America definitely stand together as Americans. Right. That's for sure. It's gritgearapparel.com. It is lockandloadcoffee.com. Again, go to gritgearapparel.com. You look under partners, go to 2 Guys, 1 COUP podcast, and you can get the swag. We're going to have to send you one, a hat. We got these shirts, we got hoodies, we got ammo boxes. You name it. It's out there. Thank you very much, Rich and Sharon, for that. It's gritgearapparel.com. And then use coupon code 2 Guys, get 10% off your entire order. So please do that. Support us, support that company. I'm telling you, those are true blue Americans right there, Rich and Sharon. So they deserve your support. That's for sure. Jim, getting back to this. Oh, there's an entire website full of those posts. Yep.
When Jim
CharlieMurders.com. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I may have heard this morning they might have taken that down because people were obviously complaining, but verify that. If not, that is absolutely true. Good morning, Billy Bass. Welcome. Been a minute. Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not, but there was a lot of people who were reposting a lot of things that were said and done, and you had to be very, very careful. I think I may have made one mistake on one, and I was contacted by the company itself and said, listen, this is somebody spoofing on this one. I removed it, but it was somebody local to Ohio, and I knew people up there, and I'm like, is this, if this is true, this person doesn't need to be working there anymore. And then it was it was verified it wasn't true. So it's very hard to verify what's right, what's wrong, what's
That's
not.
the problem.
Have some very, very good sources out there that I know that I can trust that we're posting those kind of posts out there. And like you said, make them famous. If they want to be famous, the problem is these same people who were complaining about Charlie Kirk and his rhetoric and what he said are now complaining that they lost their jobs for what they said. Well, I'd rather, I think this morning, Charlie would much rather have lost his job only. So, take that win left. That's for sure. I was complaining last time, like, tomorrow's Monday. I got to go to work. And my daughter, of all people, said, yeah, Charlie Kirk probably wishes he was going to work. I said, gosh, dang it. It brings me back down to earth because it's true. I don't care what I'm going through in life. I'm not going through what Charlie, Erica is now and their two children. So, Jim, if you don't mind real quick, I've got just kind of a video here. Like we don't have to play it all, but it's kind of the path to Charlie's assassination, really, is what it is. Jim, where's the 3 with video so I don't screw this thing up there? I got it. You want me to do it or you got it?
I got it.
Okay.
You're gonna disappear for a little bit, but it's okay.
Just a second, but you'll be back. You both disappeared. It was looking good there for a minute.
Well, I purposely think that's you set it up that way, but that's
I don't know if I did or not.
I digress.
I can't handle your anti-Jim bias.
Yeah. See, you're part of the problem, Dale.
I just got a thing against Jims. Well, let's listen to some of this because I think this speaks volumes to what is also assisted in leading people to think that violence is just the right thing to do. It's what you do when you don't agree with people.
Calling his supporters racist as well. That MAGA symbol has come to represent something. It is the new Nazi symbol. It is the new hood.
Because they're not a party, right? They're Sinn Féin to the IRA. They're the PLO to Hamas. They're a dime store front for a terrorist movement.
The Republican Party is basically a domestic terrorist cell at this point, and they should be treated as such.
There are elements of the GOP that are starting to look like the jihadists.
Not a political party. They're a white nationalist movement. They're a fascist threat to our nation. That's not hyperbolic. That's academic.
Would have once seemed hyperbolic, but it increasingly does feel like the Republican Party has become a death cult, and it's all about Donald Trump.
There is no alternative right now because the Republican Party project today is a fascist authoritarian project.
Fact is, Republicans in Congress are still in the grip of the ultra-MAGA agenda.
Party of dupes, party of knuckleheads, party of weirdos, party of freaks. So that is a simple message. And underneath that, it's the party of nothing.
It has become an authoritarian embracing cult. It is.
I pause it there for a minute because if Joe Walsh continues to keep speaking.
Well, by the way, a quick side note.
Yeah.
I knew Joe Walsh very well. When I worked on Capitol Hill, he was a member of Congress.
Uh-huh.
He privately called me his favorite chief of staff on Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
He was a conservative warrior at the time.
What happened?
Standing with us on things. And he went off the deep end because he got a major dose of TDS. I don't even know Joe Walsh anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't usually call him out, but I was calling him out recently on X, and it's just absurd. I mean, he's totally lost his freaking mind.
I don't get it. I mean, it's fine to be one thing against, I don't believe in this political view with Donald Trump, or I don't believe in what he said here or that there, or I would do this different, but he's completely gone off the deep end. And who got to him or what happened to him? I don't have to play the rest. This goes on for another 4 minutes, guys. So you get the point, right? This is exactly, to me, what has led down this path of what I now call the leftist terrorist group in this nation, to think that they can go out and just commit these crimes, or they can burn cities. I mean, whatever, they think they justify it because they're being told, well, I'm doing the right thing. I'm getting the evil right. I'm getting the evil Republicans out here. I've been told as much, that kind of thinking is what, to me, that's why the media propaganda end of this is, to me, one, if not the largest problem in our nation. It's one thing to have opinion. It's one thing to have the debate. You had the Hannity and Combs, right? You get one side, you get the other. You can believe on one or another, but they were always civil to each other. Now it's just pure hatred, right? Hate the Republicans. Because in free and fair elections, I don't know if a Democrat would ever get elected again, right? Based on what they're doing. So
and
it's the only option they have.
The reason that Democrats, primarily with the help of Mark Elias and a team of people he's put together, this is why they've been spending so much time changing the construct of our elections from same-day voting with at least paper ballot verification. By the way, I think all of us grew up when we first started voting, sometimes using those mechanical lever machines.
Yes.
That's where you get the term pull the lever in relationship to making a vote. And those also were secure because they obviously weren't connected to the internet. They were a computer of a sort, but not an electronic computer. They were a mechanical computer. So if we went back to voting that had those sorts of verifications and on the same day, we'd have more secure elections, and Democrats wouldn't win them. The whole reason that we've gone to multi-day voting and now unsolicited mail ballots is because Democrats are working very hard to seek an advantage under the guise of making it easier for people to vote.
Listen,
if you're not going to put the effort in to vote, then
you don't deserve to
why
vote.
is it that we have your opinion? Now, by the way, in a country that has gone truly third world authoritarian, but interestingly, Brazil it's a legal requirement if you're a voting age to vote. I mean, there are penalties for not voting.
Yeah.
But what they've done down there, the leftists, is they've gone all electronic. They are using Dominion voting machines down there.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm not saying that Dominion voting machines stole the election in 2020. I'm still up in the air on that. I am not saying they didn't have some problems, but I'm also not saying it's the cause of it. Our problem here is the way the elections have been massaged by all these legal challenges. By the way, including not cleaning voter rolls, which Harvey Dillon in the DOJ right now is doing a lot of positive work to get done. But but down there, Jair Bolsonaro, who, by the way, is a friend of mine, his son Eduardo is a good friend of mine, and I know I have about a dozen legislators down there in their national Congress who are friends of mine that I communicate with regularly. And they in 2018, when Bolsonaro was elected, they had switched away from electronic only voting to paper verification, and he won. Then in 2020, Alexandre de Moraes, the Chief Justice of that Supreme Court, who just rigged a judicial hearing violating the Constitution by not taking it to a lower court and putting together a small group of the larger group of judges who were on his side on this. They just convicted him to 27 years in prison. And you've got the New York Times and other media outlets saying, well, Brazil was able to do what we should have done. That's literally what they're saying. I mean, they want to use the courts and they want to rig election processes to gain advantage. And so that's what Democrats are about. They are not an American party. They are a third world Maoist communist effort as a party organization. Again, I want to repeat, I'm not talking about all Democrat voters. I am talking about some, but not all of them. So I want no unity with these people. We are out to destroy their idea of supplanting the American Republic and recreating it in their own guise. By the way, Republicans have been bad enough in allowing us to go away from the Constitution. Certainly not for the same kinds of nefarious purposes. They're just corrupt.
They're just corrupt. Correct.
But, not all of them. But they've allowed this to go by. And get us to where we're at right now. Democrats are just trying to take the next step. Republicans were doing it for personal gain. Democrats are trying to do it because they want all the cards. And if they are successful ever again, they will take everything away from you to keep that happening. We know that because that's exactly what the Biden administration was well on the way to doing.
And we see, it's not coincidence, that we see the DNC having to lay people off from their main offices. Democrats don't have the money that they had before when we stop NGOs. when we stopped the NGOs, we stopped USAID and all that stuff.
It's worse than that. Like I think the Republicans have nearly $90 million in the bank, and Democrats have about 18 million as of the last reporting period. Yep. And they're just not getting contributions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think this is evidence of a real problem that they have with the American people. Mm-hmm. But the NGO problem is different than the DNC. The DNC is just not raising money. I would guess they didn't get any dollars from NGOs. They didn't have to, because these NGOs were getting money from the federal government, and every bit of that money needs to go away.
Candidates were getting it. That's what was the reports that the candidates were actually getting the money from it. But you have a party right now that has no ideas. Their only idea is against Trump. Whatever Trump wants to do, we're against it. You don't see any of their ideas about taxes. You don't see any of their ideas about improving the job in this country. What they wanted to do is what happened under the last 4 years under Joe Biden, which was nothing. And so right now, it's the American population has to look at this, and I can't help but think, and again, Jim, help me here. I just can't help but think there's got to be a red wave come next year in the House, especially if the redistricting goes on like it's going on, and the voter rolls get corrected, and we get to that point. Is there any way that I could? Should I not be as optimistic about next year, or do you see other things? Because you're more involved in that kind of stuff. Do you see more of a? I think we're going to be okay come the midterms.
Well, when I look objectively at polling numbers, and some of them are good and some bad, so it's not like I live and die by polls. Mm-hmm. This is what I see. I see on the issues that the American people are with us. Mm-hmm. When it comes to immigration and crime, and government spending, and so forth, we're winning that battle. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump is actually not bad in approval numbers, but he's not well over 50%. So that's not an indicator of a wave. Mm-hmm. It's not an indicator necessarily against it, but it is, that's not as strong as people might want it to be. But a president can and should be pretty direct in his or her approach. Mm-hmm. So when I look at those, I don't necessarily see a wave. What I think may be happening when I see that the Democrat National Committee is not getting money from its base, that gives me indications of an energy issue that they have.
Yes.
Now that's mostly with major donors, because both the RNC and the DNC don't get huge amounts of small donors. They get a lot, but it's not as big as it could and should be if they were good institutions, and neither of them are for different reasons. But they're not getting small donors, but they're also not getting large donors.
Yes.
And one evidence of that is that you see right now, just watch the All In podcast from time to time. Okay. I'm not trying to
no.
Here, I want people to see your podcast
I get that.
too.
Yeah,
especially since I'm on it. But anyway, you look at the All In podcast. These are four guys who have been involved in the tech industry for nearly a couple decades now. In David Sachs' case, for every bit of 2 decades.
Yeah.
You've got David Sachs was the only real conservative on that podcast for a long period of time. But Chamath Palihapitiya fully came on board with Trump and remains there strongly.
Yep.
Oh gosh, I just lost his name. The other guy, other white guy, he's somewhat come on board. And Jason Calacanis is really kind of a liberal Democrat and still shows that.
Yeah.
But he's been somewhat pro-Trump in certain things. He's been very pro-Charlie Kirk, by the way. Yeah. He said very publicly he doesn't agree with everything with Charlie Kirk, but he has expressed deep admiration for him. So the reason I'm going through all that with the All In podcast guys, I think is one way to look at why some of the major donors are not giving the Democrat National Committee money, because they are of their ilk. And none of these guys think that the Democrat Party is a very good institution at all. And that at present, every policy that they're promoting is not helpful in their case to business. Like I think David Sachs throws the net wider than merely business. But business is an important part of all this because economic freedom is freedom. Free markets are freedom. And every one of them are trying to promote free market policies. Yeah. And that's a big reason why you're not seeing those large contributions going to them. So that's another indicator. I went too longer on that than I should have. But lastly, let me just say this. I do think that the Charlie Kirk situation has the potential of really motivating the powerhouse that leads to electoral waves. Because the one thing Democrats have had is high energy in their base going into 2026. They had high energy, by the way, in 2022 when they took the House.
Yep, correct.
And over the Dobbs opinion.
Correct. Yep.
I don't think that the abortion issue was a winning issue for Democrats then, but it was a winning issue in the sense that it led their base to some energy because they're dedicated to killing babies in the womb. Correct. I mean, that is one key aspect of the Democrat Party is they believe in killing babies in the womb as often 100%. As possible and for all 9 months.
Yep.
So that energized their base, which is always helpful in these off-year elections because turnout is everything. You get less turnout in off-year elections than you do in presidential years.
Yes.
So, so I think it's a mixed bag, Jim, but I'm hopeful that that there is a wave developing, and there's so many undercurrents that seem to indicate that could happen for other reasons that I haven't even described. So it's not a given, but I think that the energy's there potentially for it.
Yeah, you still got to have viable candidates. You still got to have people who support those candidates financially too. I mean, it's like anything. I mean, it's money, right? It's money and a good candidate.
Well, I was concerned that Bill Paxton has been ahead of John Cornyn in polls on the Senate primary in Texas. And now there was a recent poll that had Cornyn up. And again, I don't live and die by polls. Paxton's got some energy there. I think that this may increase that energy a bit more because John Cornyn exemplifies all the problems with Washington, D.C. He's not as bad as, say, Lindsey Graham or Lisa Murkowski, but he ain't all that far behind either.
What happens in Iowa?
Good question. I don't know. It's going to be an open primary. I haven't looked at it deeply yet. The people that are starting to say they're going to run, no one has yet really excited me. But getting new blood in can be helpful if you can keep them out of the DC system once they get there. Shoot, we have a hard time with wonderfully conservative candidates who we really believe in not buying into that system. That happens all the time. I've lived and breathed it for the 8 years I was working on Capitol Hill. It was a great frustration, especially because I came in with a guy, Tim Huelskamp, who won on the Tea Party wave. And he was absolutely faithful. We had 63 new members of Congress that came in on that wave. And by the time it all sort of shook out, there were only about 24 that were worth anything.
Is it because because Washington that's what it does to you? The money, lobbyists, is it financial? Is it, you realize at some point you realize, well, I can't even make a difference here in this town, because whether you have firm convictions and that's your plan, it's the reality of it is it's hard to make that change in Washington.
Well, three things, and one of which I've talked about on this program before. The first thing is we have a real problem with Republican Party leadership in that town.
Agreed.
They co-opt people.
Excuse me.
They threaten them and make them know that you're not going to get good committee assignments, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Of course, those shouldn't matter because all that means is a lot of money pours in and helps. It's a corporatist problem, frankly, in committees. But that's part of it is leadership. The second part of it is you have to go in there knowing the leadership will come after you if you don't do their bidding in some form or fashion. I mean, they'll put up a nice face to you. This is how they seduce you into the system. But they're gonna totally destroy you if it ever comes to it. John Boehner went after the Tea Party instead of embracing them. And in fact, if power is what he wanted, he'd have had power forever. But that gets to the third factor, which is money, but it's not campaign money. Listen, I'm not certain in my mind because of the restrictions on campaign contributions for individual candidates. I'm not of the opinion that lobbyists rule when it comes to money.
Yeah.
But there is a money problem, and it has two key components. The first one is this: if you vote the right way, well, the first one, let me back it up. The first one is this: it's a $174,000 paycheck paid to people who have to entirely leave their career and have no financial security other than that paycheck once they get into Congress. You cannot run a business and be a congressman. I mean, I know that for a fact. I've lived in, I know how busy these people are, and in many cases, rightly so. And we talk about the crazy August recess.
Yeah.
Some of those people are taking their vacations at that time, but we all take vacations.
Yep.
We should be in when there are urgent issues like we had this year, but and lose their vacations. But some of them are still working really hard in August. I know that. The two guys I worked for, Tim Hulskamp and Thomas Massey, they work incredibly hard during August. Taking a vacation probably as well too, because you need it. I mean, it's all consuming. But so anyway, that's the first thing. You have this $174,000 paycheck, and you've left entirely your career, and it's very hard to rebuild a career by the time you're old enough to go to Congress. Because you're either so young, you were 25 years old and went in there, and you have no career to begin with.
Correct.
Or which is more common, you're in the 30 plus range, mostly the 40s range, where you leave whatever career you have entirely that you built for more than a decade by now. And it's hard to rebuild that once you leave, which leads to the second component of that, which is, therefore, you're trying to find ways to be able to make money if you ever lose your election or you ever want to leave. And a third of the people that go into Congress find a $300,000 or $400,000 a year plus paycheck working in the lobbying corps. Excuse me. Just take a look at what former members of Congress are doing today. I know many of them, and almost every one of them are working for a lobby firm. Well, how do you do that? Well, you don't do that by voting the way that they don't like. And most of what happened with $37 trillion plus of debt later, all that money is going to what lobbyists do. I mean, it's the lobbyists that are working for the spending that gets to the organizations that you would be lobbying for in the future. So if you're on the wrong side of that, you ain't getting one of those jobs.
Wow. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
Like the most corrupting influence. Like, listen, a wealthy person going into Congress can be just as corrupt as anybody else.
Correct. Yeah.
But I'm at the point where I think the corruption's a little bit less for someone who's independently wealthy than it is for someone who isn't. That's just my experience.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes total sense. Wow, this is crazy. Lastly here, before we let you go and stuff, the whole idea of what took place last week, and we'll pull this full circle here, if you don't mind. The hope that I have, I guess the hope that's left in me that I have currently where I'm at in life, is that what I saw, what I witnessed, what millions and millions and millions, not just across the country, but across the world witnessed. My hope is that there is that faction that is literally, I've had enough of this party, of this. I hope it's enough to combat any Dominion voting machines or any mail-in ballots or any. That's my hope left for what happened. If good comes of that, and Charlie probably would like a lot of good to come of what happened to him. I hope it's that, and I hope the youth continues it, and I hope the youth knows what is going on out there and realizes the message that he was portraying to everybody. That's my hope.
Well,
my fear is that we have very short memories here in this country.
Well, I mean, we're human beings. Short memories is part of the whole process, sadly. As I've said many times, this politics thing would be easy if I didn't have to deal with people.
Yeah, I know. It's true.
And also 6,000 years of recorded human history proves the radical corruption of mankind.
Yes,
like our problem is we are corrupt until we work really, really hard to not be corrupt. Yeah. Like you actually have to put a lot of effort into it. It's really easy to be a supplanter.
Yep.
It's not so easy to be a builder. and to humbly not seek personal power, just seek the good of others. That takes a lot of effort that a lot of people aren't willing to give. And frankly, I don't think you can give in full until you've been born again and had your heart changed by Jesus Christ. I mean, I think that it's even more difficult, and we encourage that. And there are people who do it. You know, just because someone is not a believing Christian and doesn't have that renewed heart, that doesn't mean that they're as corrupt as they can absolutely be. Because not everybody's Hitler, right?
Yep, that's right.
They're not. But we have this challenge of living in this world that is corrupt. So short memory is part of that game. But let me get some more examples of hope. For example, what Harmeet bin Dillon is doing has had great success. Judicial Watch is doing a lot of this too. Is they're getting voter rolls cleaned up. That's happening. And that's a positive thing. It's going to be much bigger than I think people realize. Because I'm convinced that there are a lot of people who shouldn't have been voting who did. And now that they're off voter rolls in states, and that's expanding, and that's going to continue from now all the way to election day next year. As that continues, then you've got a large group of people who are just ineligible to go in and vote the wrong way. And not every ineligible voter is a Democrat voter. Some of them are Republican voters, but they all need to go. And they're much more Democrats than Republicans, because that's why Democrats have been fighting to keep these voter rolls from getting to be cleaned. And some of them are illegals, but some of them are just people who are Democrats and moved and shouldn't be voting in certain places. So anyway, it's a mixed bag there, but it's everything. Okay, so that's one thing that is very positive. The second thing is the redistricting thing. I think does help. I'm not that I think the Republican Party is all that great, because I don't. But I think, you know, if I've got a backstop into that for now, then we'll continue to do it and see what we can do. Our organization
that beats the alternative.
People accountable for sure.
That beats our only alternative.
That's right.
Currently. Now,
so that's one thing that's been helpful, and Republicans are going to win that. In fact, actually, it's not even guaranteed that the 5 seats that Democrat seats that would be added in California are actually going to be changed, because they've got that on the ballot in November, and that may not pass. It may. If I had to put money on it, I'd say it's passed, but it's not a guarantee. But yet, in every other state, they are undertaking legislative efforts which are now passing. Florida's going to do it. Missouri just did it. Texas has done it. Indiana's going to do it. And interesting, I don't know if Jim, if you saw a recent map that was considered, but it broke up Marion County, which is the home of Indianapolis, into 4, and there wouldn't be one Democrat.
No,
because interestingly, Jim, I don't know if you saw this. Your district in the Fort Wayne area is second least Republican. Mine, the new 9th district, which would go down, have Morgan and Monroe counties and go straight down to the border. It cuts Erin Houchin out of the 9th and puts her over into the 8th, by the way. If that map passed, my district is the least Republican at a 17% advantage.
Wow.
So that's a state where you've lost 2 Democrats. Andre Carson, one of the worst Democrats that there is in the Indianapolis area. And what's his face up in the region, whose name just escaped me. Anyway, so that's the situation. So you're seeing those change. Ohio's looking to do it. There are other states. So we're going to win.
Yeah, I told everybody on the show earlier, Jim, about it's been a couple weeks, that if Indiana does it, they're going to take Indianapolis and they're going to go north, east, west, and south. And
actually, when you look at the cut, it's like I think they went to Monument Circle, which is geographically
right in the middle of
Marion County, and just cut lines like this
straight up.
So and it does do that. So what you've done is you've thrown Democrats in Center Township, which is in downtown Indianapolis, out into Republican areas.
Okay.
So yeah, the redistricting is going to help a whole lot. But the last thing is this: I really do believe that the MAGA movement is inspired by what Donald Trump is doing. They believe in what Donald Trump's doing, rightly so, because I think it's been good.
Yes.
They understand largely, well, certainly MAGA people understand that Donald Trump's not the authoritarian, it's Democrats. The Joe Biden administration is possibly the most authoritarian administration that we've had, or closest to it. authoritarianism actually means I really have total control. And they didn't have total control, but they had taken over a lot in this country and subjected it to government authority. Correct. And Donald Trump's reversed, as far as I can tell, all of it that Biden had put into place. There's a whole lot more to do, and he's working on it.
And they're still in court too.
That's right. Yep. Well, and less in court. He's winning every court.
Yeah,
I know.
It shows you.
It's really crazy how well that's going, and how wonderful that he is trying to rebuild our system of lawfare that's existed in this country by letting the system play itself out rather than ignoring court orders. He hasn't been doing that, to his credit. So stop calling him an authoritarian. He's totally submitted to our system. Okay, so. People in the MAGA movement understand that, but I also believe that independents and Democrats who voted for Donald Trump see that as well. Yeah. Now, there are going to be less of those Democrats that voted for Trump that are going to be voting in this next election. Correct. It's not like they've suddenly come to our side. Right. They just saw that what was going on with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, both in the administration, and maybe though largely in the fact that they didn't get to choose their own candidate. Harris was anointed to it, as was Biden, by the way. I think they saw that, and that was a big problem. They may not be there out in as much force, but I do think there's growing and increasing energy on our side of it. And I think that's going to have a big difference. The extent of it, I don't know yet. I think because of what happened to Charlie last week, that's going to play itself out over the next few weeks or couple months, and we'll get a better sense of it. But it is there. I think it can be very powerful. And Democrat response, not just to Charlie Kirk, but to Donald Trump more broadly, is I think grating on the American conscience.
I think so.
A little bit.
I think that's true. I do believe that. I believe it's literally taking its toll on. We've heard so much of it, I mean, we've been called everything for the last 10, 11 years, right? 10 years, 9 plus 10 years, whatever. And even before that, but mainly ever since Donald Trump's name came into the mix, back in 2015, everything has been thrown at him, thrown at us. We've been labeled this, we've been labeled that. We've seen the violence from those labels. I think reasonable people are sitting back saying enough's enough. Enough's enough. Well, even if I was on that other side, this is enough's enough already. I think there's enough of those.
And let's just look at what happens with 18 to 24-year-olds after what happened to Charlie Kirk. You're going to see an inspiration in that crowd of young people who were inspired to vote for Donald Trump in part because of the efforts of Charlie Kirk and TPUSA. I think that they've just gotten radicalized. I think they recognize what everything that's at stake. And when you're that young, you don't fully understand what's truly at stake for you because you don't tend to look far into the future, but they do see what's at stake for them on college campuses that have gone crazy. And now that they're seeing their teachers more ardently cheer the assassination of a young man, I think that's radicalized that group of people. And that could very well be the one key factor in 2026 that changes the game.
Wow.
Into whatever free stuff they can offer them.
Yep.
So.
Well, they don't have any free stuff to offer unless it's Republicans in Congress.
I know that.
That was Joe Biden's ploy in the last election is to forgive student loans. That was a total play to get young people. They saw the numbers. They knew what was going on. And it didn't work, Jim.
It did not work.
And that's really significant to point out here. There's nothing free that young people are being given by a Republican Congress. They're going to give that free stuff to other people, sadly, but they're not giving it to young people. So
correct.
That's that also. So we'll see how that plays out. I think it's a potentially significant factor.
Jim, tell people how they can get a hold of you and help and everything. As always,
go to theconservativecaucus.com, theconservativecaucus.com, sign up, get on our email list, email us at info@theconservativecaucus.com. If you have any questions or ideas you like to turn our way, and then anyone watching the podcast can see my name spelled there. Just put Jim Pfaff together as one word, and I'm there on X, as well as TC Caucus on X also. And I have that linked on my personal profile.
Thank you. As always, we'll let you go, Jim. We look forward to the next time you come back, because there will be a next time, we hope.
Yep.
Hopefully we're talking about even, more positive things. Sorry to be so down. I'm just in that mood. So that's where I'm at in life.
There's no reason not to be down right now. Listen, this is a somber time. This is a serious time in American history. I mean, it's bad enough, and we saw the prayer vigil at Kennedy Center last night here in the DC area. This is a really tough time for everyone. Anyone that's not in some degree of mourning over this is a totally lost soul.
Totally lost.
This is a tragic loss. I don't care if you didn't like the guy. If you cannot be somber about where we are as a nation, that someone like him, who had no power beyond and just had a whole lot of influence, maybe, but no power, gets assassinated. That's critically problematic.
Incredible. Absolutely. Just incredible. Jim, thank you very much again. We appreciate you coming on. As always, good friend of the show, good friend to us. We'll have you on that sports show here that we're doing once, maybe once soccer becomes a topic of conversation. So I wouldn't hold your breath. I'm just saying.
well, that's okay. I know college football, and my Vols, although they lost, are showing me that they just might do very well in the playoffs. I'm looking forward to that. And I've got a dear friend of mine from my home church in Bloomington, Indiana, who is a professor at IU, but he's an Oregon guy, and he's a huge Ducks fan. And we were talking over the weekend. I think they're both going in. The Ducks haven't been challenged yet, but I think they're both going into the playoffs. I mean, what I'm very sad about the loss the Vols took on the weekend, but I'm very pleased with the performance overall. Because Georgia's really been holding them down, and they were the Vols were nothing to sneeze at.
Nope, not at all.
And they got a quarterback who's getting used to the system, who's already performing well, but they probably just had to tweak the system a little bit. And a defense, they had to learn a whole lot because they were dominating the first half. And so I'm looking.
You think there's a bunch of colleges out there right now, and you think there's a bunch of colleges and college coaches out there right now that are going like, "Ooh, man! I mean, we had our shot at Arch Manning, but I'm glad we got." I mean, they just have overblown him to the point where I think it's just too. I think it's too much right now at the moment for him.
I'm actually, that changes my whole idea about whether you throw someone into the fire right away. I think you do. I think this proves that that's what you need to do, because he's been sitting on the bench for 2 years, and he had some very bright spots coming off the bench a few times in the last 2 years. But when you, I think you got to put someone in the fire. I still think he's a very quality, capable quarterback. And if he's going to have a bad year this year, I think he's going to have a great year next year, because he's going to learn it all. I think what you're seeing is a red shirt type situation going on with him right now.
Like what happened with Burrow when he transferred to LSU.
And that's exactly right. And who, by the way, is a great NFL quarterback now.
Well, on the injured list again, but we'll see.
I still have a great hope for Arch Manning in the future. I love the kid. I think he's a great kid. He's from a great family.
Great family.
And like I said, so I'm a Colts fan, obviously. And when it was Ryan Leaf and Peyton Manning, I remember everyone was like, "Oh, who's the Colts going to take?" And I'm like, "Are you freaking kidding me? Bill Polian is the general manager. He's no idiot. He sent Buffalo to the Super Bowl 4 times. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he already knows what am I sitting around saying? Okay, let me think here. Am I going to take Ryan Leaf or Peyton Manning, who after he has a bad day, he's going to make a phone call to his dad, and that's actually going to be very helpful."
Exactly. I know.
The same thing about Arch Manning at the end of the day. Peyton now with 3 great people to talk to, Peyton, Eli, and Archie. So I think he's going to have a great future. I feel bad. I actually feel I hate Texas, but I feel really bad for him right now, because he's a good kid, and I think he's got real quality capabilities moving forward. But that's something that'll be great to talk about whenever you see fit to have me on the sports broadcast.
Oh, my absolutely. Gosh. Yeah, I mean,
we have to get the format down first. And we're
kind of working our way through a few episodes, trying to get that thing working and see how it works. And
we realized the sports show, you really need to have show prep.
So, oh my gosh, you have needs. I mean, I'm even sitting here saying these things, and I was so caught up in different things this weekend that I couldn't even tell you everything that happened. I watched College Game Day on ESPN for a little bit, which I love. That's actually great. That's one of the things that makes college football so wonderful.
It is.
And And I'm a big fan of Pat McAfee, obviously being a Colts fan.
Who called
What a gamer!
games
One of
right
the great men in NFL sports history. I love it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I noticed that I'm behind too as I'm thinking about it. So we'll work on it though.
We'll work.
You can't say, well, that quarterback from Georgia Tech. You really need to know the name. You need to know the name. Marcel
or something
Reed now.
Yeah.
So
no, you do need to know it, but you'll get there. And I look forward to coming on whenever you have a chance.
Jim, thank you as always, my friend. Thank you for talking me off the ledge a little. I'm still there, but you helped a lot, as you always do. Hopefully some brighter days are ahead for all of us, and that's what I pray for. So
the thing that works in war is fear.
Yeah, that's right.
So
that's right.
So be afraid of what might happen if you don't do it. I would like people to be more fearful and get their. I
agree. That's good advice.
Going to win. That's where the hope comes from. Hope is working towards something will work if you'll just work it.
Yep, that's right. Good advice. Good way to leave it. We'll let you go now, Jim. Thank you very much. Me and the other Jim, the dumber one, we'll finish out this show, and we'll see you soon, my friend.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Jim. Thank you. Bye. Well, he did help me a little. You know that? Boiler up, Jim. I don't know. Woo, Pig Suey. Good game. Almost beat SMU. I think it was SMU they played. Arkansas. He helped a lot with me. I'm just, Jim, I don't know about you, but I just been in this like funky funk kind of like maybe it's because I watched the video and I watched it more than once because I was just in shock. It was one of those things that I'm not a big like watch somebody lose their life kind of guy. I mean, movies, whatever, that's fine, but seeing something like that on video, I think just literally put something in my brain. Like I can't deal with somebody who agrees with that or somebody who does that any longer, well, in a situation like that.
I'm in a funk because I see people like Jasmine Crockett going out on these networks and saying that white girl.
Yeah, I know. Like that.
Saying her name.
Mm-hmm.
And just things like that. It just
correct.
And this was my point, is that the American people are waking up, but we still have these leftists that know, and again, I'm going to side with you a little bit on this one. I do believe the liberal Democrats want us gone,
eliminated. I think they'd kill each and every
one. They
are
the true fascists of the world, guys. They are the true fascists. MAGA people, whether it's white, black, gay, trans, whatever, it's the MAGA people they want gone. We cause more harm to them than anything else out there. But what the mistake they made is they're creating anger. They're creating these assassins. Okay, because I hope I'm wrong, but I'm not. I think there's going to be more attempts here, guys.
I do too.
Okay, Ben Shapiro better make sure he has a lot of security if he's going to go out and do it.
I don't know if Shapiro's the guy,
because he's more combative.
He is more. He's a lot more combative. Yeah,
and
but he's not as persuasive as Charlie Kirk.
Exactly.
So I mean, there's a difference. So,
but I'm just going to. They're fueling this because this is what they need. They need the violence in the street. They need the black communities to be mad and go out and destroy things. But as long as the black community realizes President Trump is helping them in the inner cities by getting rid of the crime, by getting rid of all of this stuff, there's light at the end of the tunnel. So who's more for the lives of black people, Dale? Like we've been saying since day one.
Yeah, you've been saying that forever. That's a good, that's a, I mean, you're right. Sorry, it was Ole Miss. I knew it was one of those schools. It's a good game though. Arkansas always puts up a tough fight. Again, back to sports. That'll be Thursday. Jim, show note, Wednesday. Who do we have with us? We have Amanda Rutledge. She is with Tours of Duty. She's the CEO and founder of it. She was with us while we were live at the Warrior Fest on one of those episodes, but she is joining us again this Wednesday to go over Tours of Duty and maybe some other things, Jim. And she'll talk all about that and what they do. It's a great organization and she's a great person. So stay tuned for that this Wednesday. At 10:30 Eastern, same time. So we will be back here. Thank you everybody who joined us. Please do like, follow, share. Crash, we saw a bunch of your comments. I literally wanted to get to them on there. I kind of there's one up here I just want to put on real quick before we do this. Maybe I missed it. I don't know. Oh, here, this one. I don't think bringing up the church and corruption is a right direction. You may not like that conversation. I don't. There's portions of that I completely agree with Crash. I mean, religion is extremely corrupt. We know that. Again, it's another topic of conversation for another day, but I understand your thoughts on that. But we thank you for all the comments and for doing that, and we appreciate it. Jim, do you have anything else to add to the show before we let everybody go on this Monday?
Nope.
Just stay vigilant, people. Keep your head on a pivot, really. Be safe out there. Jim and I have said it, and we think we agree. They want us gone. They want all our voices gone. Doesn't matter how big or small, how influential, how non-influential. Their goal is to eliminate each and every one of us. I firmly believe that at this point. So be safe out there. Make sure your family's safe. Ammo up, people. It's time. So just be ready for anything. Like Jim Pfaff said, live in fear, because that's what'll keep you safe. Huh?
You see what David Hogg said?
What did he say?
He hopes that if he's ever shot and killed, it would be a push towards gun control. That's what he would like to see. Like he's significant enough for us to even.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like him and Sisson and all those guys, they think that we would do something like that. If you're shot and killed David Hogg, it's going to come from a lunatic on the left.
Just like the politician in Minnesota.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a Tim Walz person
anything for them. Yeah, it's crazy. There's a whole faction of crazy out there that I can't figure out, and
it's
can't
almost
deal with,
like
and I'm
they're
not willing
jealous
to anymore.
It's like they're jealous. Sisson and Hogg are jealous that nobody's trying to kill them. It's seriously. It's almost like they're.
Well, think about it.
Charlie
Kirk had a beautiful wife, had 2 beautiful children. What is Sisson and Hogg? They're not getting that in life.
Well, but
they won't get that.
They didn't have the following that this guy has. You
it's
think
not even
David Hogg or Sisson is going to be able to go to colleges and be able to debate the way he would not ask someone like you and I to come to the front.
No,
he would not do that.
Correct. Yeah,
so,
correct.
Anyway.
Wow. All right, Jim. Well, thank you again. Thank you, my friend. Everyone like, follow, and share. We appreciate it. We'll see you back here on Wednesday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Tune into Furycast. Get all the shows on there. That's where you get your news now, is right here. We are the news, right, Jimmy?
That's right.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Appreciate y'all. Bye.
Thank you.
Truth, we made it clear. We're grateful that you all are here. Through every fight we see it.